everyone. Moving on in the sales process, once the salesperson has identified the list of prospects or the potential customers, the next step is to establish contact with the customer. The stage where the salesperson contacts the customer face to face and takes the sales process forward is called as approach. The main purpose of approach is to introduce yourself and your organization to the customer, build relationship with the customer, and to introduce your products and service offerings. Remember, you're not selling at an approach stage. It is essential to make a positive impression with the customer in your first meeting. The rule of 3+ states that a salesperson must evoke at least 3 positive emotions with the customer in his first meeting. Salespeople usually achieve this by using non-verbal actions such as smiling, a relaxed body posture, and asking questions involving positive answers. A salesperson's likable appearance, confident voice, and a sincere desire to help the customer are key while establishing the contact. Before a salesperson approaches a customer for a sale, it is important that he collects all the information and data about the customer. This is called as a pre-approach strategy. A pre-approach selling strategy for each prospect requires a clear understanding of his personal characteristics and needs. The major benefits of doing a pre-approach planning are to build a high level of self-confidence for the salesperson before meeting the customer, develop an atmosphere of goodwill and trust, help create an image of professionalism, and to increase the scope of achieving the sales. In this stage, the salesperson tries to get customer attention and generates interest in him. It is necessary to fix an appointment with the prospect. Pre-approach prepares effective background of making approach by the salesperson and ascertains the best and the most effective method of approaching the prospect. Some of the key pointers that a salesperson must adapt for a pre-approach strategy are as below. Pre-call research. Do your homework about the customer and mentally prepare for it. Pre-call objectives. Prepare your objectives for the call. Define your goals that you wish to achieve with the call about the necessary information and data collection. Determine whether or not the prospect blogs to learn about what they are writing and publishing to see what they care about. This will help you to initiate a conversation and build a relationship with the customer. Identify and review their social media profiles. Do they have any recent updates or new posts which will help you to enhance your communication and conversation with the prospect? Check the company website to know more about the customer's business and any other latest updates about their organization. Post-call analysis. Always write down every detail of the meeting. Make notes of when to recontact the prospect for the next meeting. Think what other approach could be used to advance your prospect for success. Now let us look at the strategy for approaching a call. First is do your research. Learn about the company and their products. Gather information about the person you will be meeting. Learn about their industry and its updates. Second, prepare a structure for your meeting. Set the agenda for the call. Define your goals. Also decide the expected outcome from this call. Prepare marketing materials that can support you in the call accordingly. The next is explain value adds that you can offer to the customer. During the call, explain the value adds that you can offer in terms of faster time to market, financial savings, etc. Explain your company's strengths to the customer. Also, give references of your value-added services to other clients. The next and the most important point to remember is allow your customer to speak. Listen to the customer carefully. Probe more questions for him to answer and explain to gather insights into his business. In order to have a successful sales meeting and a fruitful interaction with the customer, the salesperson must possess relevant knowledge. 4 key areas where a salesperson must possess knowledge are the market knowledge, competitor knowledge, customer and organization knowledge. Let's look at each one of them in detail. First, the market knowledge. It is important that the salesperson is aware and up to date about the current trends in the market, such as any price increases or any change in the policies. Market knowledge helps the salesperson to have a meaningful discussion with the customer and offer solution accordingly. The next is competitor knowledge. Knowing who your competitors are and what are they doing can help a salesperson to formulate the strategies accordingly. Information about their price, products, technology or new service offerings can help you to plan your strategies for the customers accordingly. Next, important knowledge that the salesperson must possess is customer knowledge. The salesperson should have an understanding about the customer's current position of business, their needs and future growth plans. Having knowledge about their goals will help the salesperson to strategically work on the opportunity. The last and the most important knowledge that the salesperson must possess is understanding about their own organization. It is imperative for the salesperson to know their organization well. They should be updated with any changes of policy or rules and regulations within their organization. This will help them to understand if the customer is a best fit for business with their organization and therefore work on the opportunity accordingly. Let us now look at some do's and don'ts for a salesperson in the approach stage. First, the do's. Always research about your prospect as much as possible and gather as many details as possible. This will help you to have a successful meeting. Remember, this is only an introductory call for your customer. Involve your customer in the discussion as much as possible. Ask him questions, allow him to speak and listen to him. Keep your customer comfortable. And at last, carry the right body language and the meeting etiquettes. Now, the don'ts. Never sell at the approach stage. Do not flood the customer with information about your organization, products and services. Never ask for a business commitment from the customer at the approach stage. Also, never assume you know it all. Even if you have researched about your customer thoroughly, there is always some new information that your customer can share with you. Moving on, once the salesperson has identified a prospect and established the first contact, the next step in the sales process is needs assessment or needs analysis. It is a key stage where the salesperson interacts with the prospect to identify their issues and pain points for which he will then be offering the solution. Needs analysis attempts to collect as much information as possible in order to build a comprehensive understanding of the needs and issues of the prospects. It is after proper needs assessment that the salesperson works on providing the appropriate solution. Needs assessment is the most work-intensive and time-consuming aspect of developing a sales strategy. Also, a proper needs analysis helps a salesperson to discover key facts about the customer, using which he can then design the appropriate solution and offer them. It consists of 3 key phases, namely initiation, data collection, and defining the problem statement. Initiation is where the salesperson initiates the process with the prospect for discussion. Under data collection, the salesperson probes the prospect with questions to derive the required details. And the third one is to define the problem statement. After gathering the inputs from the prospect, The salesperson then formulates the problem statement to work towards the solution strategy. Here, always get the prospect's approval on the identified problem and verify with the prospect if they would want to add any further information, as your solution design will be based on the problem statement that has been identified. To conduct an effective needs assessment, a salesperson can adapt lines of questioning and the network diagram method. Let us first look at the lines of questioning. Lines of questioning is an effective tool used by the salespeople to interact with the customers and identify their pain points. It involves asking the right questions by the salespeople to the prospect in order to probe them to gather more information and identify their issues and requirements. Lines of questioning can be of two types, either an open-ended or a closed-ended. An open-ended question invites descriptive response from the prospect, and on the other hand, a closed-ended question invites a response in a yes or a no. A mix of both an open-ended and a closed-ended question can help the salesperson to identify and understand the key requirements from the prospect. Salesperson can also make use of a technique known as spin to ask the right questions. Let us now look at the spin technique. Spin is a methodology which enables the salesperson to ask the right questions to the prospect and therefore enhance the needs assessment step. The question-based approach is designed to help the salespeople engage effectively, build fruitful conversation, uncover needs, also build trust, and arrive at a solution for the prospect's problem. The four stages of questions in spin include situation-based questions, problem-based questions, implication questions, and need payoff questions. Now let's understand each one of them. Situation questions. Situation questions form the fundamentals of the sales cycle. The purpose of these questions is to develop an understanding of the prospect and their current business situation. The next are the problem questions. Problem questions are targeted to identify the potential area of opportunities where your product or service can help the prospect. It is to make the prospect aware of the problem and the need to identify a solution for them. Asking the right questions here can sometimes help the prospect to discover a problem which they were unaware of. The next one are the implication questions. Implication questions are targeted towards the potential impact of the problem and its issues. And the last one are the need payoff questions. The questions here will help bring forth your product's benefits as a solution to your prospect's problems. Need payoff questions need to evoke positive emotions in the minds of the prospect. They help to grab the prospect's attention to the solution that you are offering. The next tool that a salesperson can use to effectively conduct a needs assessment is the network diagram. A network diagram is a visual representation of the customer supply chain. Many a times customers do not share all the information about their supply chain, and therefore many opportunities can also be lost by the salesperson. In order to gain an overall perspective about the customer supply chain and tap the hidden opportunities, a network diagram is an effective tool that is used by the salesperson. The network diagram or a network map is a structure that represents the entire supply chain and can help identify opportunities and areas of intervention which is necessary and beneficial. Supply chains represent a coordinated network of firms interacting to provide a product or a service to the end user. The supply chain network features points of divergence among suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. The model helps to understand where to find opportunities to add more value, any inefficiencies and wastage that can be removed from the supply chain, and analyze and optimize the supply chain flow. Understand the network diagram in detail. Let us assume XYZ is a manufacturer who is procuring raw materials from two international suppliers represented by S1 and S2 and three domestic suppliers represented by S3, S4 and S5. Here WH represents the warehouse and it indicates that the raw materials from supplier S3 and supplier S4 are first brought to the warehouse and then they are delivered to the manufacturing plant of XYZ. On the other side, the finished goods from XYZ are sold to three international customers which are represented by C1, C2 and C3 and two domestic customers represented as C4 and C5. Here again, WH represents warehouse and it indicates that the finished goods are first sent to the warehouse and from there they are finally delivered to C5. Let us now understand the different modes of transportation that are involved in the supply chain. First, the materials from supplier 1 are transported using ocean freight. Material from supplier 2 are transported using air freight. On the other hand, supplier 3, supplier 4 and supplier 5 are transporting the materials using truck, which is the most preferred mode of transportation for domestic cargo. On the other side, on the outbound side, the materials to customer 1 are being sent using air freight, materials to customer 2 are sent using ocean freight and finished products to customer 3 are being sent using air freight. And for customer 4 and customer 5, again the domestic mode of transportation, truck, is used. Now let us look at the different opportunities that a salesperson can tap using the network diagram. From supplier 1, you have three key opportunities which are ocean freight, customs clearance and transportation. From supplier 2, we have three opportunities, namely air freight, customs clearance and transportation. From supplier 3, a salesperson can look at transportation and warehousing. Similarly for supplier 4, transportation and warehousing, and from supplier 5, transportation. Therefore, the total number of opportunities that can be identified for the inbound side from the network diagram are 11. Now let us look at the opportunities on the outbound side. For transportation to customer 1, the total number of opportunities are transportation, customs clearance and air freight. To customer 2, transportation, customs clearance and ocean freight. For customer 3, transportation, customs clearance and air freight. For customer 4, it is transportation, and for customer 5, it is transportation plus warehousing. Therefore, the total number of opportunities identified here are 12. Therefore, we can see from this example that a salesperson is able to uncover 23 key opportunities by the use of a network diagram. Network diagram offer three key information to the salesperson, such as product flow in the supply chain, mode of transportation used in the supply chain, and identifying any inefficiencies and wastage that can be removed. A salesperson will then pursue these opportunities basis the strength of their organization, convert them into business and generate revenue. With this, we come to the end of this topic and I shall see you in the next.